My name is Sacagawea. I'm going to tell you about how I made history. I was born into the Shoshone tribe in the year 1788 near the Salmon River in Idaho. My tribe moved to many different places according to the season of the year. Living in teepees made it so much easier to travel. Moving locations during seasons was helpful in finding food. In the spring, we traveled west to find the blue-flowered kumis lily. In the summer, we stayed in the mountains, fishing for salmon and feasting on deer. In the fall, we went to Three Forks in Montana to hunt buffalo. Buffalo season was a dangerous time of year because the Hidatsa tribe knew we would come out of our mountains. Everyone knew we had the most beautiful horses. The Hidatsa would stalk my tribe to steal our horses and often take the women and children as slaves from our tribe. One bright and sunny autumn day, I was picking juicy wild berries with my mother and some of my friends. My basket was not entirely full yet, but searching for them was quite entertaining as I watched a mama bunny and her kids happily hopping around the open grass. As I was grabbing some berries, there was a teeny red and black ladybug on the tip of a thin leaf. Suddenly, I heard loud gunshots and the springing of arrows from bows. I heard running feet, crying children, and people screaming. I could smell the smoke from the guns, too. I began to run for my life when I was scooped up and taken far away from my village and family and into history. Now, over 500 miles away from home, I would never see my family again. Life was different with the Hidatsa tribe. I became a slave, and I was not free. The Shoshone tribe had to find food. The Hidatsa tribe grew their own. I helped grow corn, pumpkins, sunflowers, tobacco, and beans. Instead of living in a teepee like my Shoshone tribe, I now slept in an earth lodge, an underground house. The Shoshone were peaceful, but the Hidatsa were not, and I missed the majestic mountains of Idaho, hoping to return one day. When I was 15, I was forced to marry a scruffy Frenchman 3 times my age named Tushin Charbonneau. At the time, it was common for Native American girls to get married in their teens, to men much older than themselves. Charbonneau had lived among the Mandan neighbors with the Hidatsa for many years. Charbonneau won me either from a gambling match or he bought me from the Hidatsa. In either case, he already had another Shoshone wife. Multiple wives were common in the Native American culture. Charbonneau took to this practice as well. If I had my own choice, I probably wouldn't have chosen Charbonneau as my husband, but I made the best out of the life that I was given. Once I was married, my family lived in a teepee. It reminded me of when I was a child. I was glad to have another Shoshone woman to help around the house and to speak with in my language. Less than a year later, after I married, on October 26, 1804, soldiers arrived in our village. The group known as the Corps of Discovery were led by Captains Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. President Jefferson chose these men to lead the expedition to explore the new land that Jefferson bought, known as the Louisiana Purchase. This incredible purchase doubled the size of the United States and needed to be explored. Lewis and Clark had a huge job and needed help finding their way. They needed interpreters because they wanted to learn what the American Indians were saying. They hired Charbonneau, and since I spoke Shoshone, as well as having knowledge of the land around the Rockies, they let me come along. Otter Woman, Charbonneau's other wife, was not chosen because she was not from the same area as I, and did not know how to take them through the mountains. The men built a shelter to wait out the harsh North Dakota winter. I was 16 years old on February 11, 1805, when my precious son, Jean-Baptiste, was born. Clark nicknamed him Pomp, and that is what we called him. 2 exceptionally short months later, the expedition moved on. I bundled my son into a basket, placed him at the bottom of the boat, and we sailed westward up the Missouri River. It was because of me that the American Indians knew that my group was peaceful. It was rare for women to travel in war parties. Therefore, I became their symbol of peace. Not only did I help the expedition of 30 men find and forage food, gather firewood, sew clothing, and haul water, but I showed them the Bosman Pass in the Rocky Mountains. This was a vital part of the journey, which made it easier to cross the mountain range. In August of 1805, Lewis and Clark ran into the Shoshone. I helped take them, talk with, and trade with them. I recognized the chief immediately. It was my beloved brother. This helped us tremendously in trading for horses and goods with them. We had an exceptionally difficult trip to the Pacific coast. When we arrived, we spent the winter there for 4 months. Then, on March 23, 1806, we headed home. This was the end of my trip. My husband was paid $500.33 for his services. I got nothing in return for all that I did to help them survive the journey. Our expedition ended in severe sadness as Clark offered to take my son Palm to St. Louis with him. We agreed to let our son go with him, knowing his future had many possibilities in the New World. I kissed my son's cheek and hugged him for what I thought might have been the last time I would see him. We lived happily on the Knife River and excitingly and unexpectedly visited Pomp and Clark in 1809. It was a joyous reunion, and I was happy to see my son again. He later traveled and became cultured and well-educated in art, literature, and music. He also spoke several languages, including English, French, Spanish, and several Native American languages. I was so proud of my son. In 1816, my husband worked in Fort Manuel as a fur trader. This is where I gave birth to my daughter, Lizette. People disagree about when I died. Some say I died of a fever in 1813, but some say I died in 1882, living to be almost 100 years old. But whatever the case, I have been honored in many ways for my contribution to the expansion of the U.S. 3 mountains, 63 monuments, and 2 lakes have been named after me. I hope to be an inspiration to teenage girls everywhere, teaching them that age does not define a person, and no matter where one comes from, they can change the world for the better. Despite hardships, backgrounds, or solutions, my existence is proof that God can use anyone, anywhere, at any time in their walk in life.